What of that needed doesn't sound good. I didn't know that all that could even get a headache.
I had faith Northern until I had to correct the dental headache. That already described basically everything that's ever happened to us until now. And also found the steak is shaped.
Then nothing I can say that'd take the weight off your mind. What it's worth, I think we got the plan right and at a level expert like this guy out. Pretty solid. We can't just develop in technology till we know for sure this is the right planet. We're already in motion all that. This thing is on lockdown. Genetically sealed, even. Shit's tighter than a English occupied Microsoft.
You aren't gonna believe this, but it turned out that the range 20 ramblings of a band and effective had essentially no therapeutic properties whatsoever. And contrary to common wisdom, talking about the problem doesn't seem to have eased my state of mind either. I doubt you could say anything to make me feel better. If anything, I feel worse now than I already did. It's like the notion I was trying to describe was so conceptually insubstantial, so resistant to concrete definition within any meaningful frame of reference, that even thinking about it as an idea made me somehow existentially unsound. And not in the way I used to always feel. Back before John made the choice to validate our canonical existence axiomatically. But doubting I can deal with. Honestly, these are nine to say, but this is different.
Well, talking about it didn't help. Maybe talking about how it felt to talk about it and just enlarged the problem diagnostically.
Fair point.
Despite what she thinks, little by little, long begins to feel her head clear concern, semantically dubious otherwise. Her understanding of that standard existence doesn't include this degree of meta-narrative potency, so her doubts of my words' healing powers are understandable. I don't take it personally, as someone who sent himself to so boundless and infinite as an ascended Prince of Hearts. The fact that I'm able to perceive something in any way other than personally not kind of surprise. But then again, taking things inside and usually now it's basically my whole deal at this stage. How do you call it? My namesake. And so to the stony expression of the inflammable calm that I endure the increasingly violent torrent now coursing to the theseus under the guns of the reach of the new planet stratosphere. Vibrations unruly enough to turn even the most ardent of stomachs to a nauseous thought. Once and not pixel perfectly horizontal, I would stand the spasmodic adjustments and course corrections, which together comprise the inductions intergalactic road rage of a chaotic lawful alien woman with a voracious appetite for alchemically discolored ornamental plants. All that shit goes tumbling helplessly to the floor, walls, and ceiling, and I don't even seem to bat an eyelid. Or maybe that's just because my shade's on the way, in the face of the impossible stupidity and the unfazed of others. Because while the external world roils and heaves and shifts itself like nothing else, there's one thing I can always count on. And you know, I have many splinters. So many I used to find it overwhelming to concentrate on all. Depressing, actually. You know, the feeling I could never escape them. The feeling that my thoughts was limitless. That I was supposed to exist as a small facet of my own potential, while drowning in an ocean of my greatest persona, and all the terrible things I was fully capable of. I was trapped in a limited version of myself and was still burdened by the concerns of what it meant to be good, struggling to keep himself from drowning in an overwhelming body of potential which had no concern to human morality whatsoever. But that struggle finally ended a few years ago. My head isn't fighting the state of the water anymore. There isn't even another talk ahead to speak of. I'm only the water now. It's proven to be an immensely comforting way for me to exist. And after the feeling I had during long nights alone, looking out over the dark ocean which surrounded me. The ocean that effectively raised me, because nothing else was around to do it. During those lonely nights, I spent many hours wondering what would happen. What would even be the difference if I jumped in and never came up? If I simply disappeared. But now it finally has. I disappeared into the infinity of myself, and I am magnificent. What's the noise I hear? Sounds a little bit like a cat being caught in a ventilation fan, a sort of inhuman screeching combined with the grinding of metal. Are we even gonna make it to the ground?
I know. The ship just kind of thought I can tell. That's just Teddy laughing.
Oh. She's enjoying it, didn't she?
I hate to tell that.
What?
The needed kind of infected, actually. I decided that Tiny had a little fun around here.
Glad to hear it. Well,
Yes, Dick.
how do you feel about games?
Chapter 1.
Give flustered. The void around. Safety that I walked on the down the water than she rode away to nothing that the wish of nostalgia turned past. There's a hole in the middle of the universe, and it is empty. But the denizens of the particular iteration of the sea don't know it. All of this is just business is stuck in usual of a planet plagued by war, continuous inclement ghost weather, and the general malaise of being absolutely studded on Canon. They spend their days absorbed in the petty and pointless pursuits of having jobs and raising families and falling in love. In the midst of it, a middle-aged man kneels in a garden. It isn't his garden, and he already has a name that we'll begin our story with him regardless. Plants, Jacob decided, are really the best sort of chums. They're quiet, friendly, and easy to please. All they need is a little water and fresh earth, and they're practically happy to lie there all day in the sun. And they don't make increasingly inhumane on-field energy on talk shows expanding on the dangers of interspecies marriage. Here's another dog take note. Fuck the clown. Honestly, I don't even know if this narrator is even supposed to still be dark. That, you know what? I don't know. I just like doing that voice, but you know what? Fuck it. That's Dark's voice and the Beyond Canon narrator's voice. John has been an incredible pal, opening up his home to Jake and his son on such short notice, and even offering him a pair of pants and other sort that he has thought I neglected to put on. John's house doesn't have air conditioning. It's a charming little cottage that is sure that it could show anything used in the airing out. And Dustin earns his general upkeep. The old place where he had gone to seed and John's been away. Jake shuddered to think what sort of state it owned until then. Jane will probably have it divorced now, he imagined. It, like the rest of the assets, is in her name. She'd seen to that as soon as they were married. Back at Chilaka, there had been a lead that had hired help to take care of the ins and outs of running a household. Jane thought too busy to bother with such things. And Jake, well, he just never bothered. Why should he when there were other people to take care of the thorn? But the decades of easy living don't change the fact that he spent the first 16 years of his life in the deep, lush bush of the South Pacific jungle. There certainly had been no one to cook and clean and bring down the big game then. Besides his grandmother, she had him shooting as soon as he could hold a pistol. Hey, what nation?
Anyway.
Noticed on the shop today, but taking the time and had the place in tip-top shape by the time John gets back to the moor healed. You hadn't seen at the child today either, but that's not unusual. You told the other his kid Nathan. No one thinks Jake doesn't know that. He washed the floor and windows, cleaned the toilet up and said to the family at school that the inside of the article. They said angrily at him that he doesn't back down. And the day went on and the silence go longer. Jake wasn't the dirt out and his fingernails and his eyes all on the bottle, still sitting on the counter. John had opened it, but together they barely touched the stuff. Jake had promised him entirely he'd drive the doctor and all that. Well, one thing at a time. The jungle air is heavy, keener than familiar. 20 years on, and the thick drag into his lungs settled on him in a blanket of nostalgia, reassuring in its discomfort. A tentacle was stuck to his leg, and all around him the shadows moved and flowed, threatening sleep. He'd deeper in the jungle than he'd ever ventured in his waking hours. There were places on his island that not even his ground would tread, and seeds in the days of touch that he'd ever known. Here there'd be monsters. Jake doesn't recognize anything. The jungle of his dreams is wild and unknown, and there are things moving in the dense undergrowth. He slaps at a mosquito on his neck. Sweat drips into his eyes. He drops a hand to his gun, the tension trickling hot and tight at the base of his neck. A sudden wind dashes the canopy. There are pine needles in his mouth. There aren't any pine needles in the jungle. The only warning Jake gets is the redneck growl that seems to cancel any direction at once. There's all the monsters on him, a light creature, darkness and fury, with more legs than anything an alien had a right to. He hits the ground hard enough to try to threat on him, but he doesn't have time to catch it. He has to run. He knows in the deep pathetic way of dreams that he is no match to this monster. And right behind him, a hot, damp brat rustling at his hair. Wait, what does it feel like to be eaten? He's about to find out.
Are you, Jack?
You're welcome.
But you're dead.
Nah.
Yes, you are. I knew that much. I saw your body. I carried your coffin, chucked it out, but only did a fucking sword.
Nope.
Don't leave me, mister. I knew it did, Jack, when I see one.
You don't know what me. You're ready to tie the line. I gotta cut the stairs.
There's the thing if you aren't my Jack.
That is a whole nother conversation that we really don't have time for, pertaining to exactly who or what your Jack actually constitutes. Do you need a Jack on your timeline? Then yes, that Jack is dead. Do you need a Jack that you fucked and then ghosted? No, not your Jack. Do you need a Jack that you thought closer to, that you really knew?
I thought you said we didn't have time for this conversation. I just want to know how you can be here and also in the ground.
You know that guy's been a couple of decades of a dominating technology and then he forgets all about his old friends. Fucking rough. Well, that's a good time, Jake. Why that one almost made you sit your pants and throw a blue girl.
Ah, brain game, Jack.
The ghosty flash.
Come, Joe. Where have you been? I could have used someone on my side. You just disappeared one day without even the ill toodaloo to mark your passing.
That isn't strictly true. I did disappear that it wasn't a catastrophic blade the whole trench pathos. I even tried to cover one-liners. But you wouldn't remember that.
Because it was a different Jack.
No, this is you. This is Jake. until recently that the sorted that ambient knowledge relevant to dark. Since once I took a motherfucker and then stucking it all up like a dirty little twink and it thought in the teeth wave.
Twink? Christ, this is confusing. It appeared that no matter what timeline we're inhabiting, I can count on you to be absolutely impenetrable.
Don't worry, Dado, I know. It's not important. I'm here and that's what matters.
I behaved, I'll just have to trust you.
Yeah. Good luck at that.
What?
Constantly shake like a dawdle to the dock in the head, and dock the dawdling on the table. Ted old and sluggishly trotting to the mouth. The kitchen reeked of whiskey and it had pounds. I only did at home alone, and nobody didn't put back on the old harder. They take like don't out and don't dreams. No, you're hunting all the night now. You haven't seen the dark in years, and it had felt so real. Almost like you could have reached out and touched them.
What in the filth? What in the blizzard? You think fuck? You think fuck?
That's not a word.
Jack! And I'm still dreaming. I have to tell you, 99 games that I'm not usually nearly this bad.
I wasn't gonna say anything. The holy shit, dude. You really let yourself go. I just did a bloody drunk look at and working for me because it absolutely is. Come on now. You tapped out in the title of your own drawer and what the stuck it out on your face.
My face? What do you mean on my face?
The mustache, Jake. What I do with that?
Ew. You don't like it?
And for that, plenty your fucking rock. And no matter what 19 days of hell, God, you're not to have that. Not for me.
Now stay here, Doctor. You didn't know the situation. You haven't been here.
That conversation was a dingus on you and on me. Well, I only exist because of your towers. The fact that none of that thing here in the new universe outside of the dream and evidence in itself that just constantly downed you are. What are you doing? There's a war happening. All your friends are out there fighting and you're just here what? Dusting? Taking care of the house that nobody actually uses. You did a useless stack of shit for 2 decades. I'm here to kick your ass back into active duty. You spent years feeling sorry for yourself, totally convinced you did the wrong choice and that it's all over. And it's easier that way, isn't it? If you're lost cause, you have to try to be better. But you do want to be better. And all those dreams of that adventure, life, love, no one's had those here, and there were so many things in this world. No one's had those join, and there were so many things in this world you wanted to show him. The other things, Jake, but none of those are gonna convince sitting man saying house husband to your ex-son.
Well, what do you propose I do if you're so gosh darn brainy? I'm a cracking good marksman, and no slouch when it comes to fisticuffs, but not good enough in a war. I've got some panache, but I can hardly hold my own in the face of an army. I'm not bad enough to take the fighting honor for Jane or Genta.
Against her, obviously. What the fuck, dude?
But you were the one who wanted her to run in the first place. You yet her bloody speeches.
Yeah, I did. And everything I wanted and kicked off. I wanted Jane to be the democratically elected president, not a cake-flinging Jeff Bezos with a great rock.
Jeff who?
Don't worry about it. The time you have a chance to make a difference. You're in the perfect position to infiltrate her operation.
Like a spy?
Don't try to tell me it doesn't appeal to you. Sexy little suits, like dark hair, expensive weapons hidden in unlikely places. We're both liking the idea more and more.
Oh, well, I do look fetching in a cummerbund. Wait, no! You tricked me with thoughts of spies and hidings, and too brave against the world. I left Janie. There's no going back now. She isn't exactly the sort to live and let Lily know.
That's horseshit and we don't know it. Jane will take it back in a second. She loves you.
Pshaw! Not a maudlin brain game, Jack. That Jane hadn't cared about me in a very long time if she ever did at all. I thought you knew everything I do.
Well, it's hard of you not to hope. You can't help it. You'll never be able to help it. You're gonna hold that attitude until you're on the ground. That ain't you and me, honestly. And exhausting. You're gonna do nothing we don't know. That's why we even still arguing.
Oh, yay! Something happened out and it has. You need more order than usual. Second time out, Jake. They finally found the Canon. I knew that only another time for the attack that family directly. Ew. Well, the can't.
And the chick realized that Jane is not because she never realized he was gone. And it's then plenty of time on the tour that didn't cost half the day of the time. A tale of living in a mansion, he told her. She seemed to have forgotten that she didn't cost within the last time they met, because now that Gandhi is gone, there's no one left to talk to. She cut up and crying. Jack was great, straightening up and wiping at her eyes. Recklessly on the scale of every name don't sleep. Even if knowing that they're not guilty, she's bulletproof. Jake stood there and listened as she laid out a plan. Plan to vengeance and violence. And he Nixon does not, and Nixon does not. Honestly, not like any other night he's done to Janie lately. Right down to the pit of misery, gnawing somewhere below his belly button. All that it made worse that the occasional eye glint in her eye, or moment of self-dedication and the slant of her mouth. And none of the Janie he used to know, or the Janie he thought he used to know. None of the ghostly talking that they saw her down that fell. Not different. Att Jack take older, och one gust to footsteps då jag tillfälligt insatt change hands and wandered off across the altar. Reading the signs of books and standing way too long, staring at a startlingly static sheet of installation art. The provenance of which Jake doesn't know. The could hand that I guessed it wore cod teeth. Then he settled on Jane's desk, tossing his guilt back there and started to, well, here's a picture of what he does. Okay, that's an exaggeration. Something like this. Whatever the case, it's the dark thing. A lot of times Jane loses steam and just misses Jake when that happens. He's thoroughly exhausted and attempting to pay attention to his tutor and wife while trying not to look at the corpse of the ghost man in his brain.
Jack, I didn't think I can do this.
What do you mean? You just did it. You kicked ass back there.
I didn't do anything. I just stood there and thought bad about myself.
According to Kikaku. Well, congratulations.
It's only, well, I promised I would never come back here.
Fine too.
Myself, I decided that enough was right and truly well enough. You say you need your onions when it comes to me, and I troubled, but you just keep asking to the questions. John and I had quite the gather sex the other night, and I got hateful for the third time in years. Like I really could turn over a new leaf, and it all felt like berries and worn out. I really didn't think I'd fall off the wagon so quickly. I didn't think being here had good my nation, to be honest.
Yeah, probably not. But that's okay. I don't matter.
Oh, I suppose you're right with masculinity and all that. A true man believes in it, even in the harshest of circumstances.
Don't know anything about that list, dude. That's not what I mean. It's not because you're a man. You're God.
Oh, right. What?
The world can start being at the extent of all your relationships and personal happiness. That's what being a hero means.
I guess. I guess I never really thought about it like that.
Think what you want, Jane. But at least she realized that none of you could ever be normal, and she never bothered to try. Can it really be a god complex that you're actually a god? People like us don't get happy endings.
That's bleak, Jack. I didn't think I could totally believe that. I knew your point and all the little bits and bobs inside my mind. But, well, boy, I didn't think I'd ever thought something like that, even on my darkest days.
Yeah, that's probably more dark thought than a Jake one. I told you, try to tell sometimes.
Is that really how Jack felt? The whole gosh darn time?
Doesn't matter. I don't know that I feel like it mattered a lot.